from feed to inbox. A repurposing system for creators who hate writing newsletters from scratch. Your best newsletter content already exists in your camera roll and caption drafts. Here's the system to turn it into sends in under 20 minutes. Ask any creator why their newsletter goes quiet, and you'll hear the same excuse. I just don't have time to write one. That excuse doesn't hold up, because the content already exists. It's sitting in your camera roll, your notes app caption drafts, your real voiceovers, and the DMs and comments people send you every single day. The actual bottleneck isn't ideas. It's the belief that a newsletter needs to be a from-scratch writing project instead of an assembly job. Flip that belief and the math changes completely. A creator who posts 3 times a week already has 3 newsletters worth of raw material sitting unused by Friday. This piece is the system for turning that pile into a send you're proud of, in the time it takes to reheat coffee. Why repurpose, don't rewrite actually works. Newsletters that feel effortful get skipped in the drafting stage before they ever reach an inbox. The trick is to stop treating social and email as 2 separate content pipelines. They're the same pipeline with 2 different taps. The caption you agonized over on Tuesday's carousel already has a hook, a body, and a punchline. That's 80% of an email section done. The reel where you explained why you switched pricing models already has the narrative arc a newsletter story needs. You're not starting from a blank page. You're translating a format you already finished. That mental shift alone is what gets creators from "I'll send one eventually" to "I sent one every Tuesday for the last 2 months." The 20-minute rule. If a newsletter is taking you longer than 20 minutes to assemble, you're writing new content instead of repurposing old content. Stop. Go back to your posts from the last 7 days and start there. The 4 sources you're already sitting on. Most creators only think of one repurposing source, captions, when there are actually 4, and each converts into a different, useful kind of email section. That last row surprises people, but it's one of the most useful sources. A post can flop on the feed because of timing, a bad thumbnail, or an algorithm mood swing, none of which have anything to do with whether the idea was good. Your email list sees every send in a roughly flat order, so a genuinely strong idea gets a second, fairer shot. The 4-slot template that turns a post into a section. Every social post can be broken into 4 parts, and every newsletter section needs the same 4 parts. Once you see the overlap, repurposing becomes copy-paste adjust instead of writing. Hook. Reuse your caption's first line almost verbatim. It already earned attention once. Story or insight. Expand the caption's middle with 1 or 2 sentences you couldn't fit in the character limit. The takeaway. Say plainly what you want the reader to remember or do differently. The nudge. B. The nudge. Bar. 1 small, specific action. Reply with a word, click a link, or check out a product. Stack 3 or 4 of these slots together. 1 from your best caption, 1 from a comment answer, 1 from a behind-the-scenes moment. And you have a complete newsletter without writing a single new paragraph from a blank page. I stopped trying to write a newsletter and started trying to translate one. That single mindset shift is the difference between sending 0 emails a month and sending 4. Weekly capture. The habit that makes this sustainable. The system only works if you capture material as you go instead of scrambling to remember it on send day. Keep one running note titled "Newsletter Fodder" and drop into it in real time. The caption you were proudest of, any comment that made you type a genuinely useful reply, and any moment during your week you thought, "I should tell my list about this." By the time you sit down to compile, you're not searching your memory, you're skimming a list and picking the best 3 items. Screenshot or copy your best performing caption from the week. Save 1 real comment or DM question worth answering publicly. Jot 1 behind the scenes line while it's fresh, not from memory later, Flag any post that underperformed, but you still believe in. Note one specific product, drop, or link you want the send to point toward. Turning the send into revenue, not just goodwill. A newsletter that only informs is a hobby. A newsletter that consistently points somewhere is a sales channel. The nudge slot from the template above is where that happens. And it should point at your storefront more often than creators assume is comfortable. If you haven't already, create your store so every nudge in your newsletter has somewhere concrete to land. A specific digital download, a coaching call, a bundle, or a discount code tied to the send. Store. Fans broadcast emails make this loop especially tight, because you're sending to the same customer list that already has cards on file and purchase history. A warm audience, not a cold one. Pair a send with a limited time discount code or a fresh product drop, and the just repurposed content email becomes a direct revenue line, not just a goodwill gesture. This is also where the compounding effect kicks in. Every storefront visit, every checkout, and every download delivery is a touchpoint where someone can join your list in the first place. Through a free lead magnet block on your page, a post-purchase opt-in, or simply because your store looks active and worth following. The newsletter and the storefront feed each other. Content drives people to store. Fan your name, and the storefront's customer list becomes the audience your next repurposed send reaches. Neither works as well in isolation. A realistic 20-minute build, start to finish. Here's what actually assembling one of these looks like on a Tuesday morning with a coffee and 10 minutes to spare, using the capture list from the week before. Open your newsletter fodder note and pick the 3 strongest items, 2 minutes. Drop your best caption into the hook plus story slots, adding one sentence you couldn't fit on social, 5 minutes. Turn the saved comment question into a short "you asked" section with a direct, useful answer, 5 minutes. Write one specific nudge tied to a real product or offer on your store, 3 minutes. Read it once out loud. Fix anything that sounds stiff, and send, 5 minutes. If you're stuck on subject lines, reuse your best captions hook as is. A line that stopped a scroll usually stops a scan of an inbox too. Frequently asked questions. None of this requires a content calendar overhaul or a new writing skill. It requires a note where you drop things as they happen, a 4-slot template, and 20 honest minutes once a week. The creators who nurture their list consistently aren't better writers. They're better collectors, catching the good lines they already said out loud and giving them a second home in an inbox. If you want more tactics like this one, the blog has further guides on turning storefront basics into repeatable revenue. And if anything about setting up broadcast sends trips you up, you can always contact support and get unstuck in minutes rather than giving up on the habit entirely. Key takeaways. Your last 7 days of posts already contain a newsletter. The job is compiling, not composing. Comments and DMs are a hidden FAQ section. Repurposed answers make some of the highest open rate content you'll ever send. A simple 4-slot template, hook, story, offer, one small ask, turns any post into a section in minutes. Consistency beats polish. A plain 300-word send every week outperforms a beautiful one every quarter. The newsletter's real job is to move readers toward your storefront, not just to inform them. Start your creator store, free, at store.fan.